The increase in size or number at a constantly growing rate. This means that something that starts very slow at first then has an increasingly higher result. An example of exponential growth is compound interest.
In this chart, you can see the United States population growth from 2006 to 2016. Here you can see that from 2010 to 2016, the population grew 14 million people. By using the formula, we found out that it grew 0.72% from all those 6 years. We put P, which is 310.59, then an E, then it was raised to 0.072 since we had to move the decimal 2 points from the 0.72, and then we multiplied times 6, which is the years that we were counting, and the answer gave out 324, 301, which is equivalent to what is the population in 2016.
It is a process of reducing an amount by a consistent percentage rate over a period of time. In exponential decay, the total value decreases, but the proportion that leaves it will remain constant over time.
So in the exponential decay problem, we were asked to find the formula for the following example. An office machine decreases in value from 25,000 to 16,211 in a 7-year span. Now to make this formula, what we did was we took the P to multiply by E raised to the RT, and we replaced it with the numbers that the problem gave us. We put 25,000 in the P, then on the E, but we raised it to negative RT, R meaning 0.06, which is the percentage that we were, like the rate that we were talking about, and 7 being T, which is the time that it took.
In the morning of April 26, 1986, a disaster occurred in the Chernobyl nuclear plant. During these days, the operators decided to skip some of the safety procedures and ran the plant in a very low energy level. When the operator decided to run the reactors at low power levels, they didn't have in mind that it would make them unstable. Everything started insignificant problems, but as they got together, some of the pressures tubes got destroyed and caused a massive explosion, which lifted the cover of one of the reactors. After some minutes, tubes kept exploding and which provoked a second explosion. This was the cause of the fire, which lasted for 10 days and released a big amount of radiation. The Chernobyl disaster reached basically all corners of the globe due to the wind and ocean currents. This incident was known worldwide because of the impact it had. The total death toll of the catastrophe is a very controversial topic, but it is estimated that about 50 people died instantly or immediately due to this accident. As for the long term, the UN estimates about 4,000 deaths from the increased occurrence of cancers in the region, and nowadays the structure of the nuclear reactor in Chernobyl is today covered by a huge cement that is due for the replacement soon.
They were not able to prevent the casualty because while they were testing the cooling system, it was needed to remove most of the control rods, so they were not able to control it. If they did the same thing but with better procedure, maybe it would have been prevented. Using nuclear energy doesn't make carbon dioxide like fossil fuels. It is a non-renewable energy resource, and if there is an accident, a lot of radioactive material will go into the environment of the accident area. Also, the waste that is produced will always be radioactive and therefore bad for the health of everyone. Studies have shown that it can be found clean energy sources. These sources do not erupt fumes like fossil fuel do, although nuclear power is dangerous and makes pollution of radiation. Yes, we are. It is located in Laguna Verde, Veracruz, and it is owned by the CFE. We do agree with the fact that there is some nuclear energy in our country. We also know that there are more disadvantages than advantages of having it. The ex-director of CIE in UNAM, Manuel Martinez, has suggested to close the Laguna Verde because of tragedy in Japan that proved that most of highly security can indeed be broken. The UNAM's currently rector, José Narro, agreed with Manuel and also mentioned that it is a huge risk for Mexico to have a reactor such as Laguna Verde right now. Laguna Verde only produces around 3% of Mexico's electricity, while the CFE produces 40%. This means that the closure of Laguna Verde would not harm the country. José Narro concluded that we need to use renewable energy instead of nuclear energy in order to make a sustainable development for our country.
Forests that were near the Chernobyl splash zone were highly affected. Animals were affected by the radiation as it mutated them. People who depended on hunting these animals were also affected because the deer they ate were contaminated. Plants got affected by the radiation too, as they also started suffering strange mutations. Plant seeds and roots were hollowed. They would grow faster but would die sooner. The pollution also reached the sky, so drafts carried it throughout all Europe. This is why most of Europe was affected. Agricultural structures were also contaminated, which radiated the crops. At first, it was really small, but because of the weathering and decay, it increased and people were not available to eat for weeks. Using nuclear energy has one of the lower impacts on the environment because it does not emit air pollution. But the most dangerous effect of an atomic blast would be the radiation, because the radiation heat could cause a third-degree burn in a 20 miles range. We think that nuclear energy can have terrible consequences if we don't use it properly and how it is supposed to be used. We also think its use should be limited. To prevent further incidents, it would be important to take it in consideration protocols to make sure that there will not be more fatalities while using the reactors. Also, checking the reactors every week or every 2 weeks could ensure more safety to the power plants.